What up, everyone? This is Bevin, and welcome to the Tales from Tundo, a talkback podcast for Kingdom of Tundo, now available on roguemanor.com. Here we go in depth and behind the scenes with Tundo creator M.A. Del Rosario. What up, M.A. in the
Yeah.
house?
Hello, Bevin.
New issues of the comic book and episodes of the podcast are available same day every month. But today, we are discussing Kingdom of Tundo, number 4, Myth and Magic Part 4, Kind Farewells. And man, this is like a happy ending all around. Tell the folks at home, MA, what happened in this episode quickly.
Okay. Finds his father, still alive. His mother, Sinag, is revealed to be a prophetess of the god Bathala. That everything that happened to Bunao happened for a reason. And he meets his brothers, the other brothers uh, who was still guarding the main bad guy, the huge tree of the shadows, who is holding Amahin Dula hostage because of the concept that Tundo is connected to Amahin, and the shadows needed to corrupt people. That's why they needed Tundo still uncorrupted,
Okay.
and that immense battle happens, happy endings.
And then he goes into politics. It's great. A different kind of war happens at
Yeah,
the end. But for the
yeah,
most part, I love that we start off and then like Bunahu's compassion for his brother only like goes so far where he's like, "Hey, I'm really grateful you've forgiven me, but I'm kind of naked and hungry. Can we stop?" And he's just like a parent being like, "No, you're just gonna have to wait. Did you mess up? Yes, you did. You'll
yes,
wait."
you did. Yes, because uh, it was an afterthought, really. Banag supposed to be like the youngest because then Bunao came in. Um, Banag is the coward of the brothers.
Okay.
He's been maltreated by his brothers, so that's why whatever his brothers tell him, he does,
Uh huh.
and that's why he agreed. But after part three, he found out that what he did was wrong, and so he was forgiven, and now he's naked. He's walking in the lands of Sulad naked and the hot desert.
In a
Yeah,
hot desert. Like, I mean, in a sense, at least he wasn't made to wear like a woolly coat or anything, like a heavy coat.
yeah,
Uh,
heavy coat and nothing underneath.
that, my God, that'd be miserable. So at least with your well, he might be burned, but I don't know. Can you get burned in the desert land of the dead?
Well, they are god-blooded, so nah,
No, he's fine. All
he's
right, so it's
fine.
just uncomfortable and it's embarrassing. Basically, is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
That's
that's true.
awesome.
Hmm.
So Sulad, did I say that right?
Sulad, yes.
Sulad, see, guys, I'm
Hmm.
killing this. Is the land of the undead? Can you like tell me the backstory of this place? From like, does it come from lore?
Because the lore here is all over the place and it's very oral. I've read one or two stories about Sulad. I think it's Kapampangan, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. There is a Sulad that is the place for the undead. So I
Okay,
just adapted that and integrated it in the story. But it's definitely different from the one in Tondo. The undead lands in, I think, if I am not mistaken, is just a black void,
okay,
and where the dead goes. So I made it different here.
yeah. Is it kind of like the undead? So the undead basically is not like a happy place at all. Is it kind of like the underworld from Greek mythology as
Hmm.
well, where it's just kind of like a floating miserable kind of thing?
Not well. To give you a background on that, Fortune, because there are other facets of the world that I've already fleshed out, but I
Oh, okay,
haven't put into the first. So basically, for Tundo, there is Sulad, the undead lands, and then there's somewhat of a heaven, something of a heaven, where Sina goes, and all of those people who are brave enough to do the right thing. It's like a heaven and a hell,
Okay.
basically. But Sulad is hell and purgatory at the same time, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, no, that sounds miserable.
Yeah.
Absolutely does sound miserable. But I also enjoy that you had like an epic looking dragon there. The Eater of Moons.
Mm,
How do you
yes.
pronounce
Bakunawa.
Bakunawa? Yeah,
Yeah.
he looked epic. Is he also from lore? Or is that your own
Yes.
creation?
No, he is from lore. We have dragons here. We have several dragons. Bakunawa is the most famous because he in the lore there were, I think, many moons, and the Bakunawa every time in the lore here, the Bakunawa, every time there's an eclipse, the Bakunawa comes out
Oh, really?
and he eats the moon. That's what the tribes believe in. And then so what they do is that they make noises. They put out their gongs and their drums, and they chant every time there's an eclipse, and they, in their belief, the Bakunawa goes away because of the noise that's created.
Ah,
So
that's
that's the lore
fascinating.
here. So, but the lore in Tundo is different because the Bakunawa is the eater of the 9 moons. There were once 9 moons in the land, in the world of Mayi, and he was unable to. I'll just give it out to you because it's not going to be in any of the books. This lore is going to be like you know
Appendixes.
an appendix of sorts. So the Bakunawa just supposedly eats the last moon, but the goddess Mayari fights, and that's a whole new story in the appendices.
Wow, that's really. But the Bakunawa can't be killed, or he can.
Actually, in this place, he's already in Sulad. So, in short, he was already killed.
Ah, okay. I didn't know if he could go from the living to the dead, back to the living, back to the dead, kind of thing.
Now, in this world, in my version, he's he is immortal, yes, but he can be killed like all dragons, and so he's there.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then you have Bonahu that kind of summons all the other. Speaking of immortal, and that they can come back and he summons the dragons to kind of fight Bakunawa,
Yes,
which is cool.
um, because the dragons of Tundo are connected. Like in the first episode, the first issue. In the first issue, Sinag tells about the dragons of Tundo dying
Mm-hmm.
when the land was severed, when the land was corrupted. So now here, because Tundo is still um, basically alive,
Mm-hmm.
still surviving, so the dragons still exist. So since Bunao finally found a connection to Tondo, finally realizes that, hey, the dragons are still alive. The dragons are still there as long as Tondo is there. So he
Ah,
summons them and fights the Bakunawa.
that's really cool. I like it.
Hmm.
I like it indeed. And I also thought it was really cool, Banag to become the keeper of the dead, so Bonahu could go into the city and and rescue his father. Is that like,
Mm.
is he signing up to basically become something similar to Hades, or is he like closer to like uh whatever the ferry boat man is
Oh,
to?
Sharon,
Yeah.
yeah. It's more of Hades because
Okay.
he's like the keeper. But he's not the god of Sulad, but he's a keeper of the undead. He's not just a ferryman. Uh, the thing is, I wanted, because there is that prophecy. It's been inkling me since I wrote the very first Tondo
Mm-hmm.
comic. What happens when he goes to Sulad? How does he go to the underworld and back to the lands of the living? So I thought of the prophecy that uh, a Dula will become Banglad. That's a word I just made up. A Banglad being the keeper of the dead.
Okay.
And so when that happens, there was a catalyst. Uh, Bunao should have been Banglad, because that's the entrap. That's how the shadows were supposed to entrap him. You know, you
Okay.
stay in the lands of the dead. Now you can't go out because you are Banglad. But that's why Tundo forgave Bana. It's also divisive of Tundo to forgive Banag, because he then becomes Banglad. This is your retribution, and at the same time, I see it as a curse for Banag, because he becomes the keeper of the dead. He doesn't go back to the lands of the living. He just he just stays in Solad and becomes, he's not a monster. Like
Uh-huh.
there was in the first panels where Banag says that, hey, when I was a monster, I didn't fear the forest of the blood trees, Alunsila. But now that I'm more human again, now I'm fearing them. So it's kind of a two-way deal. We forgive you, but you become this. So, and fulfills the prophecy of Adula becoming Banglad.
Wow. It's fine. I like it. The lore is so interesting too, and the way the prophecies are all coming to line for this family, because it's very much a
Mhm.
family story.
Yes,
It's
it's a
not
family
just
story.
yeah, it's not just about Bunahu, but it's also like, Sinag also gets her wings back around the time
Hmm.
that this is all happening, because now she's getting blessed with certain powers that I guess certain powers she didn't have before then, correct?
Yes, yes. It's like the Book of Revelations. Everything is revealed to her. Um, she becomes the prophetess of, because that's how it was supposed to be. It's her destiny to
Yeah.
become the prophetess, because she sees things um no other not even her husband can, not
Hmm.
even her other kids could. She saw the shadows, and she
Yeah.
saw everything.
But now explain to me, so when he finally, defeats his brothers, which is like they look so cool when they're like attached to like the tree and they're kind of guarding
Yeah,
their father kind of thing.
yeah.
If we can kind of there it is. It's so cool looking. So that you've got like three brothers, and he, Tequila being the real MVP of this whole thing,
Mhm.
defeats the
Yeah,
brothers. I mean, I don't know what Bunahu would have done without Tequila. Tequila's
yeah.
just like, here, let me just do this for you. It's like the power sword meets like Excalibur. He's just like, or Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker's laser. Like, I will cut you down.
Lightsaber, yeah.
It's so sad, but it was kind of sad that he like rescued his father and then his father faded. I feel like you hurt my feelings a little bit, May. I was like, no, is he dead now?
Well, if you see one of the panels of Cena going up to the heavens and saying, "I'm gonna see my amahin again," so he's
Yeah.
not really dead. He just went to heaven, just disappeared from the lands of the dead.
Gotcha. It just seems so heartbreaking that he did all this work. And he's just like Bunahu's like, now listen, I just traveled through hell to get you. And now, after I've defeated my brothers and taken them down, you've left me. Thanks for nothing, Pops.
No, but Pops gave him. He handed Tundo over to him, so it was his time to go and for Bunao to lead.
I mean, fine. I guess he can inherit Tundo. It's fine. I guess he's earned it. But it's so
Yeah.
interesting. By inheriting Tundo, he also inherits all the politics of it. So now I feel like we're going a little Game of Thrones now with the way you're teasing this up.
Not really.
Okay, great.
Not really. Not really. I wanted this to be, well, yeah, epic fantasy, but not too much of the politics. I wanted it to be a fairy tale story with heroes and villains. Not too much of a gray area, but more of black and white. You know who the villains are, but there are morals here, of course, but not too much of the politics.
Well, no, I'm talking about what's coming up, because it's like the villains were defeated. So it's like it looks like he's coming to a round table where there's a lot of joy, but it's also bringing in other powers that be for him to like talk to. So that's why I was making the comment about like, are we about to get political? Are we about to deal with the other neighboring enemies? Like, what's going on?
But you have to see
Oh
the
my
real
gosh.
enemy. The real enemy is not the brothers. The real enemy are the shadows that lie in the main enemy here. The main villain, the bad guy, wasn't really the brothers. It was the
I
tree,
mean, sure.
the shadow
Sh-
tree.
Sure, but so he didn't really defeat the shadow tree, is what you're telling me.
He did. It did eliminate the shadow tree that was in Sulad, but not the shadows per se. Because
Ah,
the concept of the shadows is that the shadows corrupt. They're the voices. They're the voices within the darkness. They are your consciousness. They are the hate, the evil thing. No, not the evil thing, but chaos. Like as it was explained, uh, the shadows are more of chaos rather than evil. Evil is man-made. Evil is a concept that man created to explain things that the shadows are doing to them. But the shadows, it's just in their nature to corrupt people, to
yeah.
corrupt mortals, to corrupt gods. It's in their nature. That part of the whole lore will be explained further on. But for now, it Bunao is victorious for the meantime. But the struggle doesn't end there.
I see what you did there to me, Ma. I see what you did there. You were very much like, oh well, you'll just have to wait and see because another issue is coming out in order to be explained. I see
Right.
what you did there. So fine, fine. We're just gonna for now. It's happily ever after in the sense of Bunahu has gotten his throne. Sinag has
Mhm.
gone up to join her husband in the heavens. She says she's going to be back. Banag is now the keeper of the dead. He says he's not going to be bored, because the dead souls look a little angry that he broke some rules for his brother, which is fine.
That's true.
And then we're just gonna have to see what Bunahu has to face next. Gotcha. All right, Ma. So with nothing else further ado, where can the folks at home find you on the social channels and
You can
interwebs?
yeah, you can find me at my well, I have a website. It's paperdrawing.com. You can find me Facebook and Instagram, Paper Drawing. I think it's Paper Drawing or Paper Drawing Studio. And then for Twitter, it's paper_drawing.
Excellent. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And I can't wait to learn more because clearly there's just so much about this lore that we need to just delve further into. But I have to wait, is what you're telling me.
Yes, you have to wait.
Dang it. All right. Well, then, until next time, this has been Tales from Tundo, Episode 4, a talkback podcast for Kingdom of Tundo. New episodes of the comic book and episodes of the podcast are available monthly. Check out roguematter.com or download the Rogue Matter app because we're cool, Zennials and Millennials. We have an app available on iOS and Android. Kingdom of Tundo issue number 5 will be available on roguematter.com August 31st. Tales from Tundo episode 5 will be available the same day. We'll see you guys then.